Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Verbling class. Tonight's class is Academic English. We're going to read a story from a popular technology magazine about how visiting the wrong website could end up having the FBI on your computer. This story is going to talk about security experts and what it means to be involved in a drive-by download. This is a new technique being used by hackers, and something that the FBI has been experimenting with. And apparently this has worked out for some. However, there are, of course, privacy issues raised by some. Is this really considered appropriate or not? We'll talk a bit more about this later on in the class. But first, we're going to take turns reading the story to find out what a drive-by download is all about. Hello, Mario.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
Okay,
How's your week so far?
excellent. What about you?
Well, today's my first day back at the office, so all is good. I'm feeling healthy and happy.
Oh, that's great.
Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Ah, well, welcome. I'm from Canada.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
I see somebody else is joining us. Hello, Franz.
Hello, Simon.
Franz, where are you from?
I'm originally from Switzerland, but right now I'm living in Brazil.
That's quite a long way away from home.
Yeah, big difference between both cultures.
Yeah, what brings you all the way to Brazil?
My job, would say, and
Well,
maybe a need for adventure. I don't know, just to see new culture. But originally my job.
well, Switzerland has a very different climate to Brazil.
That's true. Yes. But I'm living in southern Brazil, in São Paulo. So right now we are in winter time. It's pretty cold, almost like summertime in Switzerland. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Well, guys, we're going to read an interesting story today. It's about drive-by downloads. It's a term, it's a relatively new term. I never heard about it until today. So we'll take time reading this story. What you guys need to do to be able to participate in today's lesson, I need you guys to go into Google Drive, which is available on the very left side of your screen. So you want to locate the icon for Google Drive.
Okay.
And once you find that, click on Google Drive. And then you're looking for a blue icon. It looks like a blue page. It says Hangout Notes. When you move your mouse pointer over it, it'll say Hangout Notes. So Maria, I can see you're in the document.
Okay.
So Franz, I need you to get into the document as well.
Yes, I'm already here.
Okay, good. Good. Excellent. So we'll get started shortly. Hola, Rafael.
Hello, Simon.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. Thanks for asking. What about you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, my first day back at the office today.
Yes, I can see in your face you seem to be more happy.
Yeah, I
You're
love
happy
work.
today. Really, me too.
And actually, yesterday after sitting, I felt fine. So I feel much better today.
It's nice. Nice to hear.
Yeah. Good. By the way, we're in Google Drive. I've got an article for you today. It involves the FBI. How exciting is that?
Oh, really exciting. Let me see.
what we'll go ahead and do is we'll get started. It's 5 minutes in, and I don't mind spending a few minutes with some small talk, but we don't want to spend our entire class talking about things like that. We just want to get going so you guys can learn quicker. So the title of this story is Visit the Wrong Website, and the FBI could end up in your computer. So what I would like you guys to do is to take turns reading paragraphs. And as you go through a paragraph, if you have trouble with a word, I will bold it, and then we'll go over those words afterwards, and we'll practice some pronunciation. Raphael, you've been in this class before. Why don't you go ahead and read the first paragraph?
Visit the wrong website, and the FBI could end up in your computer. Security experts call it a drive-by download. A hacker infiltrates a high-traffic website and then subverts it to deliver malware to every single visitor. It's one of the most powerful tools in the black hat arsenal, capable of delivering thousands of fresh victims into a hacker's clutches within minutes.
Clutches.
Clutches.
Excellent. Also, guys, if you don't understand a word and you're not sure what it is, go ahead, click on the word, and italicize it or bold it, okay? And then
I don't understand what clutches is.
Clutches, okay. Clutches in this example is referring to grip, okay? To be able to seize something or grasp it. So hacker's clutches within minutes means that the hacker has you in its grasp. It has basically found its way, or he has found his way onto your system. Black hat. That's an interesting one too. These are all very technical terms. Does anybody know what black hat means?
Like the toolbox?
Sort of. It's referring to a bad person.
Okay.
Okay.
Like a bad person, but an elegant but bad person, right?
Yeah, well, what they're saying is like a hacker, for example. Hackers aren't necessarily criminals.
Okay.
But in this article, they're referring to a hacker as somebody that attacks. Now, people can do it as part of their job, or they can do it to get a hold of your information. So black hat arsenal means a bunch of tools that a bad person will use to gain access to your computer. Next paragraph. Franz, if you could read the next paragraph, please.
Sure. Now the tactics is being adopted by a different kind of hacker, the kind with a badge. For the last 2 years, the FBI has been fighting experimenting with drive-by hacks as a solution. One of the law enforcement's toughest internet problems. How to identify and prosecute criminal websites hiding behind the powerful or anonymity system.
Okay, I'm having trouble hearing you. You're fading in the background. Are you close to your microphone?
Yes, now a little bit closer.
Okay, that's better. All right, so very good, excellent, well said. Mario, the next paragraph, please.
Okay. But I have a question
Mm-hmm.
with the previous paragraph. Prosecute.
Okay, what does prosecute mean, guys?
To not to accuse, but ask for your rights at the justice, and for in the justice, trying to if you did something wrong and you are prosecuting them to bringing them to justice, you know, to ask for your rights or something like that.
Yeah, means we're taking legal proceedings against someone, right? So It's part of the process or institute where we take legal proceedings against somebody. So naughtiest. It's weird. I've never kind of seen the word written that way. I really don't even understand why they're using it that way. Full of knots. Just really bizarre. When I read that, it didn't really make a lot of sense. For the past 2 years, the FBI has been quietly experimenting with drive-by hacks as a solution for one of law enforcement's naughtiest internet problems. I wouldn't even use that word in that context. I don't think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Full of knots. I mean, it just doesn't work to me. Like I might say one of law enforcement's biggest internet problems or most notorious internet problems, but naughtiest? I just don't like the use of the word there. It's doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, when we say something is full of knots, generally it's not a good thing or something's tied up, but still I would say it's the wrong word choice. Right, next paragraph, starting with the approach. Whose turn is it now? Mario, right?
Okay, yes. Okay. The approach has borne fruit. Over a dozen alleged users of server-based child porn sites are now headed for trial as a result. But it's also engendering controversy, with shares that Justice Department has glossed over the bulk hacking technique when describing it to judges, while concealing its use from defendants. Okay. Critics also worry about mission creep, the weakening of technology relied on by human rights workers and activists, and the potential for innocent parties to wind up infected with government malware because they visit the wrong website. This is such a big leap. There should have been congressional hearings about this, says ACLU Technologies' Chris Soban, an expert on law enforcement use of hacking tools. If Congress decides this is a technique that's perfectly appropriate, maybe that's okay. But let's have an informed debate about it.
Thank you. Appropriate.
Appropriate. Okay.
Enforcements.
Enforcement.
Glossed.
Lost.
Charges.
Charges. Okay.
Alleged.
Alleged.
Excellent.
I have a lot of doubts here. Starting by alleged.
What does the word alleged mean?
Exactly.
Okay. I could say that Raphael is guilty of stealing from my store. Now, in a Western system, judicial system, Raphael is presumed innocent first.
Okay.
So we don't say Raphael has stolen. We would say allegedly Raphael has stolen.
Like a suspect.
To allege something is to infer, but not to confirm.
Okay.
Okay? It's without proof or without conviction. Okay?
Okay. And
now, you might listen to the news and they might say somebody's alleged to have done something, but they show you some evidence online and clearly the person has done it. Another reason for using alleged is for protecting yourself. If you claim somebody has done something, then you're making the assumption that they are guilty. You're proving them guilty, and if it's written down somewhere, well, you're convincing other people what they have done is wrong, yet they haven't been in court yet. So that's why a lot of news agencies will use alleged.
Okay.
All right, Raphael, next paragraph, please.
The FBI's use of malware is not new. Its malware is not new. The Bureau calls the method an NIT, for Network Investigative Technique, and the FBI has been using it since at least 2002, in cases ranging from computer hacking to bomb threats, child porn to extortion. Depending on the deployment, an NIT can be a bulky, full-featured backdoor program that gives the government access to your files, location, web history, and webcam for a month at a time, or a slim, fleeting wisp of code that sends the FBI your computer's name and address, and then evaporates.
All right, well said. Okay, a bulky, full-featured backdoor program. Wow, talk about a bunch of adjectives there. Wow. Okay, let's just focus on backdoor. Okay. Let's say you write a program and you institute all sorts of security, but as you're writing the program, you put in a special feature so that way you can't lock yourself out. It might be a keyboard shortcut, or it might be a password that you type in, or a few key clicks. These are what are considered backdoors. They're left there, they're implemented by programmers, so they can always gain access to their software. Most of these backdoors are then removed prior to launching the software. Okay. Now, full-featured just means that this backdoor program has a lot of features. So let me read the whole sentence. Depending on the deployment, a NIT can be a bulky, full-featured backdoor program that gives the government access to your files. Okay, so this is a bit of malware that they're putting on your computer, and it gives them a whole bunch of access to your computer. By allowing the software to be installed on your computer, they might be able to gain access to keystrokes, all sorts of information that you enter into your computer through typing, or websites you go to, or correspondence. You might inadvertently be giving them complete access to your computer. Okay. Franz, next paragraph, please.
Simon, why did we stop? Which paragraph is the next?
What's changed?
Alright. What's changed is the way that FBI uses the malware capability, deploying it as a brief net instead of phishing line. And the shift is a direct response for Tor, the powerful anonymity system endorsed by Edward Snowden and the State Department alike.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what does it mean by driftnet versus fishing line? Well, imagine you're fishing. Which is the easiest way to catch a fish? Using a fishing line or a drift net? A drift net is a large net behind a boat that the boat moves and the fish are caught up in this net. So which is easier, using a drift net or a fishing line? Yeah, a drift net, of course. So what they're using is an analogy. They're using terminology like drift net, that this program is like a drift net. It just catches everything, catches a ton of information, and then they sift through it. A fishing line would be more like targeting a specific individual, getting a warrant and going after them. Well, obviously for them, a drift net approach would make life easier. All right, Mario, next paragraph, please.
Tor is free, open-source software that lets you surf the web anonymously. It achieves that by accepting connection from the public internet, the ClearNet, encrypting the traffic and bouncing it through a winding of series of computers before dumping it back on the web through and if over 1,100 exit nodes.
Okay, good. Bouncing. Well, if I was to take this can, and then throw it against the ground, it's going to bounce, right?
Okay.
However, in this context here, what are they talking about? Well, let me read it. It achieves that by accepting connections from the public internet. Okay, so connections that you and I, such as through Verbling, CNN, USA Today, pretty popular links. Encrypting the traffic and then bouncing it through a winding series of computers before dumping it back on the web. Okay, so what it's really saying, instead of using bouncing, I could say this: encrypting the traffic and sending it through. It's about directing the traffic.
Like the connection is giving hubs between many nodes, so you can track it.
Well, I think you're talking more of a detour. So
Okay.
if my computer's not infected and I want to go to CNN.com, I will go through the shortest path to CNN.com and no one's going to be able to intercept what I'm doing. However, if I have this malware from the government on my computer, well, I will go through the internet to the FBI site, to CNN.com, then from CNN.com back through the government website back to my computer. It looks like my computer's fine, but all this information is being relayed to the government's website.
Okay.
All right, Mario, next paragraph, please.
I just read the previous paragraph.
Oh, I'm sorry. Raphael, next paragraph, please.
The system also supports so-called hidden services, special websites with addresses ending in .onion. Those physical locations are theoretically untraceable, reachable only over the Tor network. Hidden services are used by organizations that want to evade surveillance or protect users' privacy to an extraordinary degree. Some users of such service have legitimate and even noble purposes, including human rights groups and journalists. But hidden services are also a mainstay of the nefarious activities carried out on the so-called darknet, the home of drug markets, child porn, murder for hire, and a site that does nothing but stream pirated My Little Pony episodes.
Yeah, a lot of words here. Evade. Well, think avoid. All right. Let's say the police have set up a checkpoint on the way home. They're checking to see if people are drinking and driving, and everybody on this route must stop and be interviewed by the police. However, I don't want to go through this checkpoint. So what I do is I evade them by taking an indirect route home. Evade is to avoid. Okay? Mainstay. Oh, well, I'm going to ask you guys, what does mainstay mean?
Like to support?
Yeah, to support. Essentially, it's one thing that is required for everything else to work. We could say that electricity is the mainstay of our civilization. Right? Imagine the world without electricity. Nefarious. I love this word. Would you guys believe me if I said they're tiny little cuddly creatures with nice eyes and fur? No. Nefarious are bad, right? Nefarious activities. These are not good activities. Okay? You're up to no good. So nefarious quite often is criminal, wicked, or it could be just mischievous. Nefarious is never anything positive. And darknet is a good example. You guys didn't highlight darknet. We have the internet. You want to avoid the darknet. In the darknet, if I wanted to hire somebody to have somebody killed, this place I could find them. If I wanted to hire ex-military people to do whatever, this is the place to find them. I can launder money. I can sell drugs, and I can buy drugs in large quantities. Child porn is also on there. A lot of really, really bad stuff. It's quite a dangerous place. I've never even wanted to even go on there and check it out because it just seems like one of those things you just don't want to go near. It's like certain parts of town. You might be safe, you might be curious, but it's not worth the risk. So I would avoid the darknet.
Okay, Simon,
Right.
I have a question
Yes.
about pronunciation, and I know the word hidden and hide. Why do you say hide and do you say hidden? Like the this letter, the I is called is pronounced different. Okay.
Okay.
Why hide and hidden?
Well, I don't know. English is a strange language.
Okay.
I am British, and I understand how our language has changed from generation to generation. I understand the great vowel shift. English is always changing. So is the pronunciation.
Okay.
The thing for you to take away is the first word, hide, I, is a long I sound. And in hidden, it's a short I sound.
Exactly.
I don't know
Okay.
why, it just
So
is.
there is not a rule to say hi or he, but it's just a word. And
Well, most of the
practice.
rules cover regular verbs.
Okay.
And then when you go into irregular verbs, things change, and it's like dealing with past participles when you come to the irregular words. There's so many exceptions that it's not worth remembering how to do a few. You memorize the regular verbs, and the rest you just have to, you learn with experience.
Okay.
I never really learned, but as you hear other people speak, you just learn how to say it in a given area. For example, if you move to New York City, you'll speak with a different dialect than if you move to San Francisco. Because what your brain automatically does is learn the pronunciations of a given area.
Okay.
What's tougher for you is you're learning a whole new language, so you're not familiar with how everybody does these things. For example, side. There is no sidden, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have lots of exceptions, and that's why there's lots of English teachers.
Okay. It's always better to practice and rehearse instead of learning the rules.
Yeah, and what I always recommend, I don't teach a lot of grammar classes here because most of you already know a lot of grammar. What everybody who comes to class really wants is to be able to speak with a native English speaker, and you really want to practice speaking. You want to practice conversation.
I'm
And
totally
maybe learn
agree.
real world skills.
In fact, the children, they don't learn by learning the grammar. They learn by saying wrong things and parents saying that's not the way of saying it. I mean, like correcting grammar, not to learn the rules.
Well, that's not completely true. Before we go to school, let's say to the age of 4 or 5, yes, that's how we learn. We learn through repetition, through hearing things.
Okay.
Right? And that's where services such as the Rosetta Stone focus on, because it's a natural way of learning. However, once we enter school, depending on our country, we're presented with a certain curriculum that teaches grammar, that teaches structure. For example, if you hear somebody speak who has a university education, they speak very differently and with purpose than somebody who hasn't finished high school. you'll notice the differences,
Okay.
right? And that's because they've learned the rules.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, what I'd like to do at this point in class is I like to just open up and we focus on a discussion. We've read a little bit about how the FBI wants to use malware to gather information. And what do you guys think about this? Now, in this case, we're talking about the FBI, and you're not American, but maybe you've gone to a site and maybe now they are able to track what you're doing. So lots of questions arise. Should governments be able to do this? Should they have the right to do it? And what if you're the citizen of another country? Should governments be able to spy on others? What do you guys think?
As far as I know, it all started by the World Trade Center incident. As far as I know, okay, maybe it's before, but it becomes more stronger when it happened. Okay, and I have a personal opinion. Okay, I'm for sure that they are spying not only the American people, not only the American side, but the entire world. Okay, so they have a large database. So if any person is entering to USA, they already know a lot of things of that person. Okay, but in my personal opinion, I don't care. Okay, because well, I have nothing to hide. Maybe is they reading my mails or my habits, but I really don't care because I have nothing to hide, and I think is maybe I want to think that this is for a good purpose, okay? To defend, to know the bad person, to know the people that it's doing child porn or maybe minding how to do a terrorism act. So I really don't care, and
Well,
well,
let me ask you this, because I want to give you an example of where I was talking to somebody on the phone, and we were talking about building a bomb. And we had to have the bomb ready by September. It was critical that we had the bomb ready. If it wasn't ready by September, we would miss our target date. Now, with pill, please. Now, if the government is listening in on conversations, they would. What do you think they would? What do you think they would hear in that conversation? What would they assume?
a terrorism act.
Could be.
Exactly. But excuse me, I didn't understand you when you say belly a bomb.
Well, I'm not going to spell it out because it's important that you hear what we were talking about. So we had to have the bomb delivered by September. It was critical.
Okay, okay.
So what do you think if you hear that? Does that sound good?
No, that sounds various.
Well, exactly. And so what has happened in some cases where people have had conversations like this, the government has then sent people over to the person's house that have been put on no-fly lists because the computers have triggered certain keywords that have been brought up, and now that person has been targeted. So what I was talking about is I'll type it out, bomb. You see how I type that out?
Okay.
Now that's, in IT, that's an acronym for Bill of Materials.
Okay.
Now, I'm well aware that there's a lot of spying going on, so when I have this conversation, I would always say Bill of Materials. But the other guy's just not even realizing. He's saying, well, yeah, you know, I've got the bomb ready, and I'll be sending it to company X by next week. We've already reviewed the bomb. It looks good. I'm thinking like, oh my God, if NSA is watching this or CSIS is watching this, this is not good.
Oh,
right?
That's totally true.
So
Okay.
you can be having conversations about perfectly legitimate business,
exactly. Okay. Well,
But
in fact,
you know,
I'm not justifying them. Okay. That is bad thing. Okay. We all have our rights for privacy. But well, you get a good point.
well, what about this? So I'm in a country where the current form of government has been doing terrible things. The economy's really bad. They've been sending military in to break strikes, and it's people are tired. Well, I've decided I'm tired of this, and I've been talking to my friends, and I want to find a way to help um, prevent the government from getting elected again. I'm not going to do anything illegal, but I want to sign petitions. I want to put out ads, build a website, letting people know all these things the government has and why I think they're bad and should vote for a different party. Now, I'm not doing anything illegal in the country I'm in. I'm practicing free speech, which is allowed under most countries. But now if the government can pay attention to this,
Mhm.
I'm not really comfortable with them listening in.
Exactly. Okay, that's true.
So I'm not talking about things that, like everybody says, well, I don't do anything wrong. Why should I have to be afraid? That's true. But the reason why I have windows on my house and the house isn't built of glass is I don't want people to see me doing my daily activities. I've
Exactly.
got nothing to fear, but I don't want somebody listening to me while I go to the bathroom or while I'm talking to my wife or kids. I've got nothing to be afraid of, but why should they have a right to access that information?
Oh, exactly.
Right?
What I think is, in fact, Google or Microsoft or Apple. I don't know if Apple is doing it, but they do something similar. Well, apply to what they do. Okay, so Google, in in theory, read your mail, so they can give you the best advertising for you, the advertising that you like. If you like cars, then they advertise you cars or tech products or whatever you like, whatever you talk about in the mails. So in that case,
Ah,
if it's only for that, in that case, I will be glad with that. Okay.
okay. Well, see, here, Mario, let me bring up another point. Okay, so Mario, you're right. Google does read, if I have a Google email account, Google will read my emails.
Mm-hmm.
They don't ask for my permission. They just go ahead and read my emails and target ads for me. Now, if you're the owner of that account and you've agreed to that, well, that's okay. But see, Mario, I disagree with that because I've sent you an email which is private, just for you, and I don't like the fact that Google's going to read that email. I didn't sign on to the terms of reference, and I don't agree with them reading my private email.
Exactly. Well, in fact, in the terms and conditions, when you accept them, there is a confused thing about it, but it is there. Okay. Well, you know about the legal things. They are confused things, but well, uh, I'm agree with that also. Well, I'm I worry most about what the FBI does instead of Google, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and it's bad. I'm not justifying them. It's very bad.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to change the conversation and have a lively conversation. But a lot of people do say, well, if you're doing nothing wrong, what have you to be afraid of? And I would turn around and say, I'm going about my daily life. What gives anybody else the right to listen in to me, to spy on me, and to hear every conversation? It's a little creepy.
Yes.
Raphael, we were just talking a little bit about Google and how Google reads every email you send, your correspondence. So they can target ads. What do you think of that? Oh, he doesn't like that at all.
Okay. Simon, are you in IT world?
Yes.
Are you a programmer?
No, but I used to. Yeah.
Okay, me too. So, in fact, maybe people like you and like me, uh, we are more awareness, or I don't know what to say. We know more than others these kind of things.
Well, I think one thing you have to be careful of is anything that is free. If it's free, you better read the terms and conditions. And most times the terms and conditions say that they will make updates at any point without telling you.
Okay.
So they can go from being very benevolent to somebody who's stealing and selling your personal data.
Have you heard about the study that Facebook did last week? Like taking personal information from people when we don't really know about it. We don't really knew about it, and they did a study, a big study.
They were doing a test. I think it was on about 600,000 or 700,000 people, and they were altering, I don't know if it was the placement of news or messages, but they were changing what was visible to people, and they wanted to see if it affected people's moods or how they reacted. They were doing a psychological test
Exactly.
without the permission of those people.
Exactly. But
Under Facebook's terms and reference, though, well, they can do anything they want, can't they?
exactly. And well, you got a really good point about the similarity between, well, if I put windows or doors or walls in my house, it's because not only for safety, but for privacy too.
Exactly. And I'm not asking much. I just want to be able to choose who can see photos of me and my family. And Facebook, they make too many changes that makes it very difficult to sometimes control privacy. Not only that, but you can no longer delete your information. Once you put it on Facebook, it stays on their servers. You may delete it. It might sound like it's getting deleted, but it's not deleted.
Do you have Facebook account? A Google
I
account?
do, and I don't post any information on it anymore, but I really haven't gone about deleting it because it really won't serve a point.
In
They
fact,
keep records of all the stuff that you put on there.
yes. In fact, there is a new, well, maybe not so new, kind of criminals called social what? I don't know, social criminal, something like that. Well, there's people that put status about everything. Hey, I'm the bathroom. Hey, I'm taking a shower. Hey, I'm doing everything. I hear. So these kind of people, these kind of criminals, study a guy for what they do in Facebook, so they know their habits, okay, and they can plan a kidnapping or an extortion, something like that. And there is a lot of cases about that. And
Well, let me bring up something, Mario. And for anybody who's watching this later, it's very important to realize, know the people who you're inviting to be your friends on Facebook. Because let's say I was a criminal, and maybe I wanted to break into your house. Maybe I was targeting you for some nefarious activity. Break-in could be one. Who knows? Whatever it was. Well, most people just accept friends.
mhm,
A lot of people also will post photos of them on vacation while they're on vacation. Others, when they write messages, it'll say in Facebook where that person is writing a message from. So if I was targeting a person for a nefarious activity and I see they're on vacation, I know they're not at their home. I know they're not at their place of business. In fact, I know exactly where they are, which gives me more freedom. I know information about their friends and family. So
or
I
the
could probably
like.
just show up at their house and check with their neighbor and say, hey, I don't know, make something up because I know their friends and their family. I could say, oh no, we're just here to do work on them. So and so said we could be here. Just wondering, make small talk, so that way nothing sounds out of the nothing sounds strange. And there's been a lot of break-ins. But on the other side, police have caught criminals because of stuff they put on their website. People have got into accidents and posted the information on website.
Exactly.
Here's something to think about, and then I want to get Raphael to comment. Governments around the world are looking to Facebook for information. People are freely identifying their friends on Facebook, their family, where they work, where they have worked, where they're currently working. Photos of their vacation, their travel, their religious affiliation, clubs that they're members of, activities. Well, now, if I was a government and I wanted to get information on somebody, I would certainly contact Facebook. And of course, Facebook would have no problems turning over that information.
Well, in fact, the Mexican government or the Mexican police have a special unit of social investigation, okay? And they caught a drug dealer by tracking the habits or the posts about this drug dealer. In fact, the son of the drug dealer. So where the son was, so there was the drug dealer, and they knew the status, where they were, and they started to track him. So it's used for justice too. Okay, but it's very dangerous, especially we are grown up, but especially in childhood or in teens.
And that's a good point. And I want to get Raphael to comment here. Raphael, how do you feel about using Facebook to get information about people?
Well, since this, I can presume that these people are totally aware about the information they put on Facebook. So I think if they don't feel uncomfortable putting their information on Facebook, why should I feel comfortable? I don't know. Everyone is totally responsible for the information they put on this website. So if they put the information he totally agrees about. He's totally aware about the consequences of information they put on Facebook. So
let me ask you this, Raphael. At work, do you have a billboard where it has your name, all the places you've worked at, all your friends listed, your religious affiliation, any clubs you joined? Do you have that pasted in a public place in your workplace?
No, we don't.
Why not?
Well, simply because I don't have time to do this in my job, you know.
Well, it's also privacy. It would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yes, I think it would be weird for me.
But somehow it's okay. With Facebook, we think of it as, oh, it's on the internet. But remember, you're putting all this information out there. Photos, some of them which may not be appropriate, and you're inviting friends and coworkers alike to see the information. We need to be careful with information that we put out there.
Simon, do you have child?
Yes, I do.
And what age are they? Are they teenagers?
I'll say he's a young child.
Okay. How do you control them, or how do you educate them?
Well,
do you say
through words, but I also put filters on the internet to prevent certain things from happening.
Okay. What kind of filtering? Like you can't surf this URL or something like that?
Well, I don't want to say that over the internet because somebody might, if they choose to attack, then they know what I'm using to defend myself. But no, I just use various tools that are available to protect as best I can.
I'm asking you this because it is so hard to control or to try to educate a kid that they are starting to 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 enter in the Facebook war. And okay, you can block certain URLs, but you can control what their friends say him or tell them to, hey, let us meet, get a meeting in such a place. Okay, I'm afraid of that. Okay, I'm planning to have childs, and I don't know how to handle it.
I don't know the answer. I do know that I will explain the dangers of Facebook and that you may not want to use this. But really, if my son chooses to do that, then that's his choice. I can't really, I can't prevent him. Kids are smart. They can always find ways around things. The best thing you can do is inform them and hope they're smart enough to choose the right path.
Exactly, because when I was a teen, I was only thinking about go and drive and well and run and play and in a bicycle and something like that on playing football. But since maybe 9 or 10, kids are thinking about their iPad. They ask for an iPad or for Facebook account, and it's hard to handle it.
Raphael, do you have any children?
No, no, I don't. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about this yet.
Yes, not yet.
Are you planning to have children?
I don't know. For now, I don't have plans to have children. Maybe in the future, but not now.
That's a very personal question, too.
Okay, maybe it's because maybe you haven't even think about it, how to handle with your children.
Yes, it's complicated to educate the children nowadays, because we are losing society in general. It's losing some of basic concepts we learned in our childhood. Maybe children nowadays are not learning as they should be,
Guys,
as they should learn.
there is a chance
Yes.
that I might be, my browser might be crashing. I just got something saying it's quit, but apparently you guys can hear me. But if I do disappear, I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay.
But it looks, I know it's weird. It looks like it's working. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the government's spying on me. I don't know. You never do know. Hey, what's my class for tomorrow, guys? What am I teaching tomorrow?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What's my class tomorrow? What am I teaching?
I don't know. Let me see.
It's a good class.
I don't know. You can say it.
Are you teaching tomorrow? I don't see your. I
Simon, do
don't.
you give private lessons?
I do give private lessons, yes. I
Are
am
you in
teaching a class
Canada?
on pronunciation tomorrow. Yes, I'm in Canada. If you look at the class, Raphael, it says pronunciation for tomorrow. I think it's 8 o'clock or 9 your time or 7 your time. Yeah, no, I do give private lessons.
Okay. I'm gonna look for you.
Yeah, take a look. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm quite busy. It shows some available time slots, but I know things are filling up quickly. Saturday morning, though, is looking really, really good because I canceled 2 of my classes to have a bit of a breather. But if you want a private class, I can do one then. It's very easy. So yeah,
Okay.
the pronunciation class I'm doing tomorrow, it's on the TH sound, and then my next class is all about role play. We had a lot of fun doing that last week, and we're back with role play. And because I'm healthy and I'm recovered, I'm going to go back to teaching more than one class a day. So starting next week, hopefully we'll see more classes there, Raphael.
That's nice.
Sorry about that, but it happens. Does Rafael get classes with you before?
Raphael has been with me for, I'd say, 3 or 4 months now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rafael, are you practicing every day?
Yes, I try to access every day. You know, it's trying to improve the most of the more English, the more I could try to improve my English. I'm trying.
But by this time, okay, or by this hour, by the
Yeah,
where are you
sometimes
from?
I'm from Brazil.
Okay, okay. What time is in Brazil?
Right now it's 5 minutes to 8 p.m.
Okay. It's earlier here in Colombia.
See.
So Simon, are you always here by this time?
Usually, yes. It's either 6 or 8, 6 and 8. That's usually how it is during the weeknight. I always do either a class at 6 o'clock, which is what time I started this class, and 8 o'clock. Sometimes I do both, sometimes I do one. Now, Verbling, they've changed the website around, the profile, so it's a little hard to figure out where things are at right now, because previously on my teacher page, it would show you the next 6 classes that I'm teaching, but I don't see that anymore. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, it's there. It's just they've changed things around a little bit. So I'll give you the link. There's the link to my teacher page. And what you'll see is all my next 6 classes are listed there, the ones that I have a lesson plan around. I haven't done it for next week yet. So if we look, and I can't seem to get in there too. There seems to be a problem. I've got to talk to the website guys.
Okay. Okay, I'm saying it.
Any other questions?
Well, I don't have.
Okay, so to sort of sum up then, this class was all about a technique called drive-by download, a technique that the FBI is using. And some of the ethical issues behind this is it really okay for them to do this without a warrant or any other form of permission? I know I like my computer to be fast, and I don't want anybody on my computer monitoring it. Nobody has the right to, unless, of course, I've given them permission or they've gotten a warrant. So I'm personally not happy.
Believe me, Simon, they are looking at your computer right now.
Probably.
Yes, so is mine.
Yeah, well, they would. By just following me, they can see you two, so you're next.
Maybe they already targeted us because we are talking about them.
True, but we're not saying anything bad.
For our
Yeah. Well, guys, we've come to the end of another class. Thank you for coming, Raphael and Mario. Mario, if there is a time you want for a class that's not listed, send me a message and I can open up a slot. But right now, you can see the next couple of weeks. I've got lots of spots available, so feel free to book. If you just want to try it once, get one class. But if you're interested in more than one, get a 5-pack and you get a discount.
Okay, Simon.
my thought.
Thank you so much. This is the kind of classes I really like because it's not like staying to a text or wait. I like to discuss. Okay, and
I
And
can tell.
thank you for your class.
You're welcome. Good night.